Are you stuck trying to figure out how to study for an upcoming lab exam or return demonstration? I've got you covered. I'm a nursing professor and lab instructor, so I'm here to share some insider tips and strategies to help you ace that test. Stay locked in, you don't want to miss out. Hi everyone, my name is Professor Jus B and this is LJ. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, this channel was created to support nursing and healthcare students just like you. As a nursing professor and educator, I offer tips and expert advice that will help you succeed in school and in your new career. If this is something that you're interested in, show me some love and support. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on weekly videos. Practical lab exams, return demonstrations, and clinical tests are no easier than writing a typical written exam. As a nursing professor and previous lab instructor, I know just how nerve-wracking performance tests or practical tests or return demonstrations can be. Today, I'm going to share a few professor-approved study tips to help you feel more confident as you prepare for your practical exam. Just like a written test, your professor would or should provide an exam blueprint, if you will, or a breakdown of what exactly you will be tested on. Maybe 10 questions on this topic, 15 questions on another topic. Well, in a practical exam, it's not so cut and dry. Practical tests are required for you to apply your knowledge, right? That's what they're there for. We want you to apply the knowledge that you would have learned in class, plus demonstrate that you have mastered a technique or a psychomotor skill. Now, before you begin studying, make sure you take time to review the exam guidelines or instructions. What type of scenario will you be presented with? Will there be an oral part or an oral test after the practical portion? How much time do you have? What equipment will be provided, or what do you need to bring? All of these details are critical and will help you focus your study efforts on the most important criteria that will be evaluated. So it goes without saying that it's probably a good idea for you to look at the exact criteria that your instructor is evaluating you on. In a practical exam, there should be a rubric or some sort of grading guideline that your instructor is using to evaluate you. Make sure you review this. For example, you don't want to assume, well, I'm only being evaluated on the skill of vital signs, no biggie. Well, it's not only the skill of measuring vital signs that is important. There are often other criteria that your lab instructors are looking for and that you're also required to do and that are also outlined in the rubric. Things like professionalism, so coming dressed in full uniform, infection control, so making sure you're performing hand hygiene at the appropriate times, and even things like how you develop a therapeutic relationship with your client by introducing yourself and explaining what you are doing. These elements of the practical test can easily get overlooked, especially when students are zoned in and focused on performing the actual skill correctly. Many times, students forget the client, the person that's right there in front of them during the performance test. What instructors want to see is that you can perform the skill or technique safely and correctly while also incorporating the softer skills of nursing care, things like empathy, compassion, trust, and professionalism. As you are studying for your practical test, of course, it is helpful to practice using a checklist. I know it might seem basic and weird at first, but when you're starting out something, having clear and complete steps, do this first, then do this, can be helpful until you find your flow. I like to tell students, think of your checklist like a recipe that you're making for the first time. When you've never cooked a dish before, never baked something before, you're more than likely you're going to follow the recipe to the T. After time, once you get more comfortable, you begin to find a flow. You might even change substances or add steps or maybe combine steps. Now, if your instructor has provided you with a checklist to practice, great, use it. But if not, use the procedural checklist in your nursing textbooks because they often provide pictures and explanations that are helpful. If you find yourself walking through the checklist and you're stuck on a step because you have no idea how to perform it, go back to your notes, go back to your textbook, find nursing videos, ask a peer in your class, or seek further clarification from your lab instructor so you know exactly what they expect from you on the day of the test. Tip number 4, practice until it becomes less robotic. So how long or how much should you practice for your practical test? There's no magical number, I can tell you guys. But what I will recommend is that you practice from the checklist until you find your flow, until you don't feel like a robot. The checklist, as I mentioned earlier, is there to help you become familiar with the steps and provide a sequence that you can follow. But as you practice more and more, the steps just become natural and you'll begin to feel more comfortable. Hopefully enough that you're not consistently or constantly referring to your checklist. Now, I like to tell students to really get in the frame of mind and get into the nursing role when you're practicing. Really put yourself in the nurse's shoes and think about how you would actually perform the skill on a real client. You're not going to walk into the client's room with your checklist. That would be kind of weird, right? But you would know the major steps and the sequence to complete those steps enough so that you're not sounding like or looking like a robot in front of your client. We used to say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but nowadays a video is worth 1,000,000 words, right? Nowadays videos are so commonplace and are being used more and more in nursing education. So why not take a video of yourself? I mean, let's be honest. You do this anyways, right? On social media? Well, maybe not all of us. But there's a ton of learning that happens when you can actually see and observe yourself in action. So take time to record yourself performing a specific skill or engaging in an interaction with a pretend client, right? Someone at home, a friend, whoever. Record it, play it, watch it, and then evaluate that video according to the practical exam rubric. I'm serious. I want you to watch yourself and evaluate yourself using the same rubric that you'll be evaluated on at school. Now, you'll be surprised to see some things you might not have seen before. Some things you did really well, some things that need a few more tweaks to get right. So use that video as a learning opportunity. When you're preparing for a practical exam or any type of performance test, there are a few additional study strategies that we discussed. Be sure to review the examination guidelines or instructions, review the exam rubric, use a checklist to practice until it becomes less robotic, and video record yourself doing a practice test. Hopefully these study tips will come in handy so you're well prepared and feeling confident going into your exam. Hey guys, thanks for joining me on the JLT channel today. I promise I've got more good content for you like this video over here. And don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and even share this video with a friend, because it's just like that.